Okay, hello and welcome to Modern Guitar Harmony, and I'm delighted to say we have Ben Monder here today to talk about the Almanacs, the Mick Goodrick Almanacs. So I'll first of all welcome him to the Modern Guitar Harmony YouTube channel, and I'll name check his last couple of albums. There's a really lovely album called Day After Day from 2019, I think, and it's just full of some amazing guitar playing. I won't rave about it, but I certainly could. It's a lovely record. And there's also a live album with Tony Malaby and Tom Rainey live at the 55 Bar, which is also fairly recent, fairly current. So please check them out as well. So I'll welcome you, Ben, to the session. You've been working on the almanacs. We've talked a little about them before. And last March at the Soapbox Gallery event for commemorating Mick Goodrick, celebrating his music, you played a piece based on the almanacs. Could you say a little about that, please?
Most of what I got out of the almanacs were probably more ways to compose, ways to give me ideas to compose than necessarily improvise, although it's obviously valuable as well. So I just decided to see what I could come up with based on some of the various cycles. And I got to say, I'm almost exclusively concentrated on the three voice stuff. I don't even remember what information is in what volume.
I believe that's volume 2.
I would say, yeah, I think volume 2 is where I got the basic material for this piece. And it was just this particular cycle that informs most of the idea of the piece you referred to is just 3-part fourths and cycle, right? Spread. So in this case in G, let's say if I do it in C, well I'll do it in G because that's where the piece is. So I'm starting here. Can you hear that okay?
Yeah, lovely, thank you.
Okay. And then, so obviously, if I was going to go cycle 4 all in the root position, it would just kind of sound like this with, whoops, that's totally wrong. Not great voice leading, right? So the way he voice leads it is. Is that right? No, sorry. Should have prepared for this. I keep going back to C instinctively. So anyway, it just started with these, the piece started with this. And then I decided that if I go through the cycle literally, it doesn't sound that great melodically. So I'm actually cheating a little bit. I'm going one step too high. So I'm actually going, and then back to C instead of to D. But I'm arpeggiating, so. And then a little melody forms out of the top notes of the cycle. And then I go to something else, which is this is another pattern from the cycles, which is I guess it's just would this technically be fourths close to open in cycle 7. So this is like B to A, G to F sharp. that's how the piece starts. So cycle 4, cycle 7, and then just kind of like departing from the strict cycle thing and just going by ear a little bit and ending up in G in B flat. No, I'm really not strictly adhering to the diatonic cycles anymore, but starting I'm more thinking of the melody and the shapes of the fifth chords. And ending up in now I'm ending up here, and now I'm playing, and now the second part, I guess I'd call this still the A section. The second part of the A section, I'm playing the same material as I started with, but I've added a melody on top. Let's see if I can play. I really haven't practiced this in a really long time. So that's, again, literally the same original beginning material with an added top melody. And pretty much all of that informs what the rest of the piece is based on. Just the fourth movement and the melodic strands that you find within that. So between, that and just sorry for the crappy performance, everyone.
That's clear already. Thank you so much. That's really useful. And we're watching you thinking. It's really interesting. It's fascinating that people ask all the time what creative use are the almanacs because of it being in complete form in one key and in one section, one cycle at a time. You're breaking the cycle up. You're changing a little bit of the pitch, the key center's moving. I think you varied the time signature at one point.
Oh, yeah.
But it bounces around from 3 into something else later on there.
It's constantly changing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so far in this piece, it's based in groups of 3s, but whether it's like 3, 6, or 9 is changing.
Often the dialogue on the news group about the almanacs has been, where's the creative use? How do we apply these? And David, Lee, Marcel, myself, we've been talking a lot about this year on Zoom about once a month. And it's been a fabulous conversation. We all go away with our batteries charged and practice more and play more. It's changed my playing this year, just talking about this. And this is a really useful dialogue to have today. You're using the melodic generation as compositional material, what Mick Goodrick calls the musical DNA.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's so much melodic content just already embedded within all of those things. And so you find them, and then that just serves to open your ears up and take it in some different directions.
But thinking compositionally, it's a wonderful use of the almanac raw material. You're using it as marble to carve. And
it's striking a balance between that academic information and your intuition.
Yeah. One technical question. Your left hand is doing the normal thing with the big stretches, and we're very aware of those, obviously, with the risk and the difficulty of them. But your right hand's doing some quite complicated selection of those voicings. You've got
So,
some classical background in your right hand technique, I can tell from your other pieces. And is it a standard right hand technique you're using, or are you using your pinky as well?
I, I don't use my pinky that much, but you know, like yeah, if I want to get a 5 note chord, I'll certainly use it. But I don't. Yeah, I'm not like using it. Not really manipulating it. I haven't really thought about that. Yeah, it's pretty rare that I actually use it in an arpeggio, which is a limitation. But I haven't really thought about it. I did take some classical guitar lessons as a kid. Never excelled at it, and I don't even own a non-string guitar, but
Yeah.
it probably helped somewhat. Just going learning lobos, etudes,
Hmm. Hmm.
and things like that.
And this piece that you're demonstrating for us, has it got a name yet, or is it just still a work in progress?
Oh no, it's recorded. It's fully
Ah,
recorded.
right.
And I was actually wondering if I played something on my computer, or will it just like come through the speakers and then through the microphone and sound like garbage?
I'll try it. Maybe if we pause the recording for a second and just experiment, that's probably a good idea. Here we go. We've got a piece to play for you. So,
Okay, so anyway, so since I just like fumbled through this piece live because I really haven't practiced it in years, I was just going to play a little bit of the recording, not too much because it's a 23-minute piece, believe it or not, but I'll just play the first couple of minutes so you get the idea. And again, the beginning material is the spread fourths, cycle 4, but I've included a number of other cycle ideas, generally 3-part cycle ideas in it. So anyway, here goes. I'll just first couple of minutes of this thing. Yeah, then it kind of gets into some other stuff, but we can
mhm.
pause there. Where am I?
Maybe we can put a link to it, to the purchasable, the buyable
Oh,
version of it.
it's not viable yet.
Oh, okay. So it's a
It's
sneak preview.
Well, this will be on a record that I've been working on for the last few years, and one of many pieces. Hoping to finish it up in the next couple of months, and then it'll be out maybe next year at some point.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. It's really an honor to actually be able to hear that in advance. It's great. I call this technique high maintenance. If you've got a piece that complicated, it's so demanding to keep it
It
really.
is, yeah. It's
Yeah.
kind of consuming when you're actually preparing to record it. It's like it's kind of hard to do anything else. But that was already a couple of years ago, actually. That
Uh-huh.
we recorded it.
Yeah. I think David mentioned triads over bass notes as well as part of this, and he'd actually listened to some of this along with Mick and when Mick was alive, and Mick
Oh,
had
yeah, that was
identified.
actually a different, I think he's talking about a different piece, which is also
Ah,
bass, which we could talk about that as well.
yes, please.
So this one, the main idea is, let's see if I can remember this, three-part spread cycles to three-part fourths,
Okay.
cycle 5. So that's also in volume 3. So if I could just demonstrate that in C major, I guess, yeah. So the spread cluster would be C, D, E, right?
Yeah.
You could also think of it as just a ninth, ninth and a fifth, or I don't know. But anyway, so the cycle in C major would be, oops, does that sound familiar?
Yes.
So that's the literal cycle in cycle 5.
One very quick technical question. Are you incorporating open strings some of the times there?
Not yet.
Okay.
I mean, maybe I could put this down. Oops. Oh, there's an open string, but
Got you.
so that's okay. So that's C major. So for this piece, the one that I sent to David, adapting it to the fourth mode of harmonic minor.
Okay.
So in this case, B harmonic minor over C. Sorry, E. Right.
Yes.
Um, and again, like the melody in already contained in that is compelling, I think. And then I just, so as you'll hear, go on with it. What do I do now? I've completely forgotten it, of course. I'm gonna try this one more time, and then maybe I'll just play it the version. Hear it. Oh yeah. Okay, that's okay. Last time. Sorry to waste your time. That's embarrassing. Okay, that's as far as I'm gonna get. This is another like 20-minute thing, but
George Van Epps would have been spellbound by that.
I highly doubt it. Anyway, so this is, it starts out as the strict cycle, and then it just occurred to me to go somewhere else melodically with it. So that's, so the melody already contained within this cycle just inspired the rest of the phrase, which
Yeah.
does not follow the cycle strictly. So
Yeah.
it's kind of been jumping from one thing to another. And of course, I'm also departing from the strict mode at this point. And ending up in which is contained within the mode. I know it's not. It's the mode. That's the original mode, but then
Okay.
I guess in a way it's a deceptive. And then I'm going back to the cycle in A minor over E. So now, if I was going to do the strict, if I was going to do it strictly diatonically, maybe I would end up sounding like that in Dorian. But I'm just mixing the modes a little bit. So this is where Chromaticism enters into the picture. So I'm introducing a G sharp in this, it started as A minor. Oops. And then, so that's the first couple of phrases of that overly long piece.
So what we're getting, if I understand your process, we're getting a mixture of the theory from the sequence mixed with creative choice at a point that your intuition kicks in and tells you that's the
Yeah,
piece you want to work with.
that's a
Yeah,
good way of describing it.
yeah, yeah. It's certainly very effective. It works for me. It sounds great.
Thanks. And so this piece contains quite a few more of the three-part cycles, like strewn throughout the length of it. And also all the melodic material, like I'm exploring a lot of melodic material, but it's all contained pretty much within the first phrase. Like there's a lot of like if you just take segments of the longer melody, you can create shorter motifs that you can later explore like independently. So there's already tons to work with just within the first statement.
Are you ever thinking canonically with it, with in terms of the way that the voices move canonically in the cycles? Do you take that and bring it back from time to time?
Do you mean do I employ like strict canons
Are you
or?
looking for the canons to actually be part of the piece, or is that just something that happens in the chord sequences?
Yeah, sometimes they just happen automatically.
Yeah,
I think there actually is there are a couple of spots in that piece where I'm consciously trying
yeah.
to execute a canon.
There's a famous quotation from Bach's time where one of the theorists said that everyone thinks that canon is the secret, and it drives people crazy. They don't really need it as much as they think they do, but it's not the solution to everything. And I think what we're working here in the creative realm is that it's the start of things where you hear a canon, and then you can take a freeform approach to it to some extent after that, like an expansion of it.
Yeah, well, sure. It's just it's not an end in itself, but it's
Yeah.
another tool. Um,
And do you have a title for that piece so that we know what we're referring to?
no,
Not yet. It's
I,
the usual thing. These pieces get put on a
yeah.
platter. Yeah.
I mean, so far the working title is 3PSC, just because three-part spread clusters.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's really going to fly. So
Okay.
come up with
Okay.
something a little
Yeah.
more poetic or something.
And I'll ask a few more general questions about it. With a piece like this, do you settle on a key quickly, or is it pragmatic with what the guitar offers?
Um, well, it's not really in a key, but I think when I was just playing around with that particular cycle, um, I was just experimenting with different modes or different scales, and I just hit upon, you need to decide how bright or dark something
Mhm.
you want something to be. Once you've got the building blocks, you're like, is
Yeah,
this, it could have been like a very different piece if it was just all in C.
yeah,
But I decided, well, maybe I want to go a little bit darker. That's kind of an attractive sound, and it's not a mode that I really have ever explored that much, like fourth
hmm,
mode or harmonic minor. So, um, yeah, so I settled on that. But apart from that, I wouldn't say it's really in a key because it like floats around and modulates a lot.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
a lot of E involved just because it's a guitar and I've got this
yeah,
thing, but
yeah,
I wouldn't necessarily say it's in the key of E.
yeah. That makes sense. There
But
was
this is another one where I could, since I did it with the other piece, I could play a little bit of the recorded version. Um,
yes, please. That would be
so it
great.
might be a little bit more fluid.
One technical question again. Are you writing these on paper quickly, or do you get them on the guitar first and then transfer them to paper? Your book's full of dots, obviously. You've hundreds of pages of dense music.
um, I used to write on the guitar and then much later commit in the paper, but since as my memory has gotten more fallible, I kind of write things down, not neatly and not in any kind of finished form, but I just jot down, rough ideas of what I've played so I remember the next day.
Yeah.
But at this point, yeah, everything is completely notated.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay.
But okay, let me try to find this thing.
Okay.
Let me know if you can hear this okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, that's enough of that.
That's lovely. We're talking
Sounds
about modern guitar harmony, and I think that's perfect for the label on the tin today.
good.
Exactly what we're talking about. Um, would you say you're influenced by sort of 20th century classical harmony with that? It sounds like classical guitar from the middle 20th century in parts, things like
Right.
Tippett's blue guitar, or
Yeah,
um,
I'm definitely
I'm hearing it, certainly. But
more probably by osmosis than
yeah.
analysis, but yeah,
But you
probably
sound like you're having fun with it. It sounds enjoyable. It's
there's fun elements. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I'm with the torture.
Have you played any of the Mick Goodrick solo pieces? Have you tried them?
Embarrassingly, I have not, but I have the book, and it's on my like giant pile of things that I need to get to once I'm done with this
One or
record.
two pieces, fragments like that in there, which I think you'll enjoy exploring. And
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah, yeah, look forward to that.
I'm so looking forward to hearing this on record. I mean, we're hearing a preview of it today again, but this is exciting stuff. It really is.
Appreciate
Um,
that.
the ideas that you're using, are you thinking guitaristically? Are you thinking band with them when you're writing them? Are you looking for a bassist to cover some of the?
Um,
So
well, depends on the tune, but these two are pretty much just like solo guitar, and then one of them is drums and bass, just
yeah,
sort of filling up the bottom. The 3 PSC is just a solo guitar piece,
I see. Yeah.
but there are other different types of tunes on there.
Oh, that's really something to look forward to hearing. I'll be listening to that quite a lot, I'm sure, you know.
We'll
That's
see.
just great. I've got your lesson handouts that you hand out with the your one-to-one lessons, and you were very kind enough to allow it to be published on the Modern Guitar Harmony website. I hope you know about that already. It's
Yeah,
the
I mean, I
yeah,
don't have a problem with,
I expected you would have done. But it's interesting. You pick the same voicings that the Goodrick Almanacs use. You've got your six main voicings of your chords, your
right.
seventh
Well,
chords.
those are the ones that exist.
Yeah, and I think there may be one or two others that people are talking about, but they're the main ones, or they're the only ones that you would recommend working with. Do people come along with others, or?
So you're talking about seventh chord voicings,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So that's the full set.
Your question is, are there one or two that are would be more of a priority than others,
Yeah, yeah,
no, I wouldn't. Why not treat them all equally, right? But the ones that fall under your fingers easiest are probably, obviously drop two chords. Um, but they all have a unique identity and um, important different uses. So I'd say why not learn them all equally well.
yeah, yeah. And I mentioned open strings before. We got into a really strange discussion that we seem to be doing opposite things when we were talking on the news group meeting a few weeks ago. Some people avoid open strings playing this kind of material. Other people exploit them.
Why not
Uh,
exploit them?
yeah,
They exist and they offer a unique, different timbre. I'm all for like expanding all the timbre possibilities that you have. So yeah, I definitely would be in favor of open strings.
yeah,
But just know what they sound like and know that maybe in context, an open string voicing is not going to work because it'll just sound jarring.
yeah.
But on the other hand, it could be, it's just it can be a really lovely sound in useful in certain contexts.
And that varies from guitar to guitar and from right hand to right hand with different players' touches. Uh,
Sure. Yeah.
One thing I've found with the almanacs is touch of the right hand seems to be as vital as even moving those voices. It can
Well,
sound
you
very
have to make it
ordinary.
sound good. That's the bottom line.
Yeah,
You can like hack your way through this stuff, but really it needs to sound like something that somebody wants to actually listen to.
yeah, yeah.
So that's it sounds obvious, but it's important to remember that.
I think that was the magic I found in the almanacs was the what it offered in terms of the sonic possibilities, plus this logical melody just coming out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Those chord changes and the cycles.
Right. There's melodies on top. There's melodies like embedded within the
Yeah,
voice
yeah,
leading. So yeah, there's that's there. I've also explored open string voicings. Apart from the almanacs, just picking a key and maybe a mode and just seeing like what are the open strings that are available, and then like working around that.
mhm,
Like if I want to think of like B flat major, obviously the A string is available, so maybe you could, it could play like a nice ninth voicing, and then that's available. I could even add, if I want to add the, let it come out. Or E flat has a lot of nice stuff in it because you have the third and the seventh.
Yeah.
So, there's tons of stuff in there. Anyway,
That
it's
makes
kind
a
of
lot of sense. Yeah.
just pick a key and just see where where you can plop your hands with some open strings and
Mhm.
stuff.
And with these big stretched chords, and it's not so difficult on a guitar with a comfortable neck like a guitar
No,
like this.
yeah, the one you were playing, it would be a lot harder. I
I'm
think.
fortunate it's a small body
It's
and
kind of
a
small.
slightly smaller neck, so
Yeah. Oh my
so
God.
it's not
It-
too bad. It's a 19th century replica, so and
oh,
you can do the so that's piece number 3 from the Goodrick
oh
solo
wow,
guitars,
that sounds great.
and it works a treat on this. And he dedicated that book to Fernando Saw.
Huh.
Uh, that's the Saw model guitar, so it's kind of nice little connection. That's what I was looking for with it.
Has
But
anyone ever recorded those pieces like on an album or something?
there's a few YouTube channel versions of a few of them,
Yeah.
not a selection of them yet, but I think it's going to be very viable to do so. There's some really exciting things. There's a very short fragment of the Rite of Spring in one of them. So for solo guitar. Could you say a little bit about your own reaction to the almanacs when you first saw them? I asked Randy about that too.
Maybe I kind of got the material in dribs and drabs before I actually got the full, spiral bound book. So it wasn't like I didn't like plunge head first.
Yeah.
I think my reaction was just like, this is really exciting. And what kind of blew my mind was that I had, prior to being acquainted with the almanacs, I was doing a lot of like my own experimenting with 4-part chords and what deriving what I would call intervallic structures, and those being 4-part chords built in intervals other than thirds
Yeah.
or fourths. So just like various combinations of intervals, and then moving them around diatonically, and I came up with some, what I thought were really appealing sounds and sounds that I hadn't heard before on the guitar.
Mhm.
And very unscientifically and unmethodically, I would just like write them out and then displace octaves with certain notes, and so getting like 70 or 80 different shapes, right, and then move them all through diatonic, major scales and melodic minor, harmonic major, and also voice lead them, find inner voice movement and and voice lead them among each other, so that just to create some interest and not have them just be all going in the same direction. Anyway, my point being, I thought I was coming up with all these various things, and then when the almanac taught me that every diatonic chord I came up with could be thought of within one of 5 chord types. And so there isn't a single chord I came up with that doesn't exist in the almanacs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's either the 7th chord, fourths, 2 different triads over bass notes, or clusters. That's it.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing else that's possible. And hadn't really occurred to me,
Yeah.
but it's obvious when you think about it.
That's so important to actually explain to students and to let people know that this is a big number, but it's finite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, especially on guitar. So I've, sort of been combining my approach with the Almanac approach, which yield pretty different results because my approach is much more haphazard. Uh, I'm not following cycles, I'm just kind of going by ear. So, for example, a chord like this, which is, I'm thinking of this as fifth, fifth, sixth, right?
Yeah. Yes.
But, but I guess what would this be?
Drop, double drop two, drop
Yeah,
three.
obviously, no, right. Obviously, this is tried over bass note because
Oh,
it's
excuse me. Yeah.
yeah. So, and now don't ask me if it's tried over bass note one or two because I don't know. But but anyway, but I'm in my like taxonomy. I'm thinking of fifth, fifth, sixth, and so I can either just take this through the C major scale, or I could move it, voice lead it to just I hear it or my fingers even actually go. So keeping it diatonic, I can move to this chord. I could just kind of sequence something like that. Or some like internal counterpoint, like that kind of thing.
It's great to watch you thinking your way through this.
Um, yeah, so my idea would just be to start somewhere with something and to see where the voices can lead and try to incorporate some contrary or oblique motion with the outer voices or even the inner voices.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the non-almanac stuff like that. And then you open the book and then you would learn how to actually voice lead this through every diatonic cycle, starting and voice lead it strictly, and that will yield a whole slew of different results. So,
Did you feel like that changed your playing as you were working through that material?
oh, for sure, yeah. Just kind of opens up the neck and more importantly, opens up your ears.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And but with any kind of practice, it's a little bit delicate, like how this stuff comes out in the real world. Like, you don't want to be thinking about all this. Like the more you practice, the more you could tend to think about what you've practiced while you're performing, and that's generally not a great idea.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of really internalizing it so that it's unconscious, and then seeing if it comes out. And honestly, like most of what I practice never comes out, but some of it does. So it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe a tip of the iceberg type of scenario.
I like to think that the rest of it is cooking somewhere and it's still ready to come one of these
Like,
days.
yes, I
Yeah,
have to go on faith that that's true, but who
yeah,
knows?
yeah, yeah. But it's someone asked, what about the five notes you're not using in the diatonic cycles? And that's a bit of a brain boiler for me when you start to think about the outside notes as well as the triads, but as well as the seventh chords or the diatonic tones. And that's probably where volume three starts to really kick into some serious chromaticism and things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, chromatic, you could be chromatic within a key and just introduce passing chromatic passing tones. And you could be chromatic in terms of modulating
Yeah, yeah.
lots of keys. So, there's kind of like a wide field. And generally just try to use my ear in those cases.
I tried to do some sequencing on the diminished voicings just to actually write them the same way as the almanacs, and I
Right.
got a little way with it, and it's hard thinking to actually
Oh, yeah.
sit at a desk and work that out.
You know, now that you reminded me, I did quite a bit of work, which most of which I don't remember, but treating diminished chords, four-note diminished chords, in the same way as the intervallic structures.
Yes, yes, I've tried that.
Great.
It's demanding.
It comes to mind, something like that.
Yeah,
There's just a lot of stuff.
I'm hearing Joe Zawinul.
That's not right.
Mm.
Yeah, it does sound like him.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That sounds like something that someone will take and run with anyway.
yeah, I
That's
mean, you have
fascinating.
8 notes to play with, so there's really a lot of stuff you can do.
It's strange. I'm reading a little bit about theory. I try to keep on the practical side of things about the music side, but the theory is fascinating, and as long as it's kept in its cage, it's okay, I think. It can bite you otherwise. Um, I think it's the geometry of music, Shimashiko, that one. It's a really lovely book. You have a copy too? Yeah, that's the one. And nice one. He talks about the usefulness of the harmonic major being the fourth option because those scales kind of have a nice distribution of semitones and whole tones. And if you add more semitones or fewer, things get less interesting. So when you're onto 8 notes, you're becoming a little less creative with those 8 notes than the seven.
Oh
Or
yeah, I mean you can't live there.
yeah, yeah.
Although I did write a piece based on Messiaen Mode 6, which is an 8-note
Hmm.
scale.
Yeah.
Um, but to be fair, I couldn't really live strictly within that mode either, so that piece departed from the strict
Hmm. Hmm.
mode pretty quickly. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I find those tools kind of more colors, things to apply sparingly, places to really sit.
That's interesting. It is. I remember when I was starting up, the Abyssal books had the notes of the harmonic major, and it didn't seem to have a title in those days. It didn't have a label attached to it, but it was a cool scale, and people were using it. And I'm sure that some of the 19th century artists were using scales that probably didn't have labels on either. Like harmonic minor might not have had a label in the 19th century, perhaps.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah,
So it's just horses for courses.
yeah.
I think we can start to wind it down now. We've done nearly an hour, so I don't want to wear you out. And I've got a
So,
head full of ideas to scribble down and
oh,
get some
good.
ideas from. I'll put some links up to your Bandcamp page for people who are interested in hearing more of this.
All right. Well, appreciate it.
And we'll make sure they're linked from the Modern Guitar Harmony page. And I hope I'll be able to get to chat to you very soon again. This has been a very
Sure. Well,
informative.
I assume you're in England somewhere, right?
I'm on the border between England and Scotland. I'm in the northeast of England.
Okay, because I'll be there pretty soon, but I'm not sure if I'll be in your region.
Oh, I'll watch your webpage and find out what's happening. It might be great to catch up at one
Okay.
of your
Yeah,
gigs.
that'd be
Yeah.
great.
Do you remember any of the cities you're playing in?
Um, I could tell you in a second. There's London, Southampton,
Yeah, it's quite a long way away from here.
and
300 miles.
some place called Jazz Stroud.
That's in the vicinity of London.
Yeah. Oh well, not this time though.
Okay. But sometime it would be brilliant to catch up.
Yeah,
And
lovely.
thank you so much again for the time that you've given us so generously today. It's
Yeah,
really
my
appreciated.
pleasure.
And I'm
Appreciate
sure
you
there'll
having
be a
me.
lot of discussion about some of the ideas you've had the next time we meet on the Zoom calls that we're doing with Modern Guitar Harmony. And you're invited to any of those anytime you feel like you've
Oh,
got a little bit of free time to pop along.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you again. I'll get
Thank
off
you,
now. I'll
Mike.
let you enjoy your day.
Okay.
It's great to meet you. Thanks
You
again.
too.
Then.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Bye for now.